Actually, this is the last Monday that we will be covering and canvassing atomic habits. First of all, I just want to say thank you to all of you guys who are out there tuning in live with us this morning. I know that sometimes it might be a little hard to get up at 6:45 on a Monday, but I'm very appreciative of those who are making the effort to do so. As I've said in a previous video, that it's 2023 and it's time for us to step up and hold ourselves accountable for the things that we say we want to do, the things that we say that we want to accomplish. We're just about finished with the first month of the year, and all those things that we promised that we're going to resolve, and all those resolutions that we create month. I hope you guys are able to still kind of have those standing. I hope you guys are still fulfilling those things that you guys set out to want to do or to set out to be better in. Next, I just want to just again thank everybody for liking, sharing, commenting I want in, or commenting at all. Personally, I've tried to make a conscientious effort to deliver content more consistently. That's one of the things that I wanted to really get better at. And then more specifically, I want to get better at the engagement component. I know my wife gets on me pretty often about maybe my lack of engagement, and I still might be lacking this week, to be honest with you. But I'm gonna do my best to make a more of a concerted effort to acknowledge the comments and the sharing that you guys do, because it's greatly appreciated. Number one, it's a huge confidence booster to me. For those of you who have been following along with our reading in this book, the things that you guys are doing, the responses that I'm getting are wins for me in terms of the identity that I'm trying to create for myself, and trying to become a professional speaker, and to kind of continue my journey in creating content and developing curriculum that reflects leadership development. Shout out to everybody who's following me on Instagram. If you don't know where I am on Instagram, I am at Alex Seal. At Alex_Seal. That's ALEX_SEALE. You can also find me on LinkedIn and then YouTube. YouTube is still at Alex_Seal. LinkedIn, I'm at Alexandru Seal. And so let's just jump into our study for today. Before we do that, if you're not a part of our private Facebook community, comment I want in. We'll be going deeper into conversation about the current book. Actually, there's the final component to Atomic Habits that we'll be covering, called Advanced Tactics, in the group exclusively. So if you want to continue just this last leg of practical application for these principles discussed in this book, please join our group. Just comment I want in, and I'll definitely work towards getting you in that group. But just to recap really quickly, over the laws of habit changing laws that we've went over the last few weeks. Law number one was to make it obvious. We talked about changing our physical environment, changing our digital environment. Actually, we had a challenge in the private Facebook group in regarding, setting, time limits on your apps or your screen time to be able to help you be more productive and help you drive drive time towards the habits that are most fulfilling to you. And so, and for myself, one of my identities was I wanted to become more of an organized individual, or just to say I'm an organized person. And so, I've put more trash cans in my office area to try to eliminate the opportunities to have unnecessary waste around my work area. And I think over the last couple of weeks, I've been successful in that regard. And it's a very small change. And again, this whole study is about incremental change, getting 1% better every single day. And so I believe some of the things that has been discussed in this first law of making it obvious, I've definitely implemented it, and I've seen some of the benefit from it for sure. The second law is to make it attractive. How do you make the habits that you want to do attractive? And I think, there's things that I've done personally that I'll, discuss in more detail in our private group. But there's certain things that I've done to make my habits more attractive. And it's increased my ability to be able to get those habits done. So that was law number two. Law number three is just to make it easy. Reducing the barrier of entry, reducing the friction that is there, reducing the amount of steps that are involved in you doing the habit that you are wanting to replicate and duplicate throughout your daily lives. I think this has been this is very important when you kind of think about things from a lean mindset. Kind of just making sure that you have the things available, like that you need to have available in order to do your most necessary habits. You know what I mean? And so really just evaluating the chain of steps that it takes for you to get to a habit. Number one. Number two, also evaluating the trigger, the initial step in what it takes for you to make the habit, to set the habit in motion. Whether if that's for you wanting to work out, then probably the number one trigger is to put the workout clothes on. And once you establish the thing that puts that in motion, working out will become a whole lot easier to do. And also just appreciating taking small bites versus wanting to try to eat the whole deal at one time. If you want to be an author and write a book, if you focus on writing one page at a time versus writing chapters at a time, you'll have the book done in no time. And once you just kind of focus on that singular activity. So, excuse me. These first three laws have been fantastic. And today we want to kind of center our focus on the fourth law, which is make it satisfying, right? So the number one thing that we got to realize in this component and in this law is the cardinal rule for behavior change, which is what is rewarded is repeated and what is punished is avoided. So for us, it's human nature to seek immediate gratification. So for me, I definitely know I identify with this because there's been several decisions in my life over the last 10 to 15 years that I've probably decided to do something that would give me the immediate gratification versus making a better decision to forward towards my future. Now, excuse me. Now, granted, am I happy and satisfied with the life that I live? Do I feel like I live a blessed life? Absolutely. However, I do realize as I reflect over my life and as I look over the things that I've done, I know that there's opportunities that I could have made better decisions that would have translated into my future even being even brighter, or me attaining even bigger opportunities. And so, in knowing that, I think our natural response as humans is to seek that immediate gratification, that a lot of times those results do not align with our long-term identities. Okay, I'm gonna say that one more time and so make sure I don't kind of fumble over it. Naturally, the things that give us the immediate return usually do not align with our long-term identities. And this is because we rather be in the present than in the future. And here's the thing. I think there's a lot of value in being present in the present for sure, in a lot of situations. However, when it comes down to the habits and the things that we consume, the places that we put ourselves in, a lot of times that those things typically, when they don't align with our identities, they don't align with the wins that we're trying to accomplish every day, they hinder us from being able to being the person that we know we can be, or the person that we're attempting to try to become. And so we've got to start looking at how do we implement, being that this is just again coded in our nature, how do we begin leveraging making the habits that we want to have and obtain, how do we make those things satisfying, right? How do we tie a reward to a positive habit? And for example, the author kind of explains some things like if you have some goals of wanting to make a certain purchase, or if you wanting to save for a vacation, and you decide to say, and correlate that to also wanting to be healthy, right? And so if you say, instead of going out to eat every day, we'll try to cut that in half and eat at home half of the time. And typically when you eat at home, typically the meal at home tends to be a little bit more healthier than the meal that you would eat out with. And then when you do that, also pay yourself for not eating out. So the money that you would spend, or the money that you saved by not eating out, deposit into an account that's specifically for that vacation or whatever that thing that you want to purchase is. And so by doing this, it's like almost creating a loyalty program for yourself by making that adjustment. Okay, I'm going to pay myself every time we eat at home. I'm going to pay myself and make sure that that I am contributing to something that I want. Also, I'm contributing to being healthier too, because I'm controlling what I'm consuming by when I make the point to eat at home. The next thing you can do in order to try to create that immediate satisfaction, or the immediate return, is to you got to start thinking about how to measure your daily habits, right? I think measuring your daily habits will definitely give you um, a sense of tracking how well you're doing, or what areas of opportunity that you have to grow in. And there's two primary reasons why I think people either they know measuring and tracking is good and they deviate from it, because number one, it's kind of like it's fun in the beginning. Most of the things that we attempt to do that are good for us long term are exciting when we first start, and then they turn to a burden thereafter. And I think I'm extremely guilty of this when it comes down to I get really excited and pumped up about something for the first week or two, and then after that I kind of get disinterested, disengaged, or it doesn't become as appealing. And I think my biggest Achilles heel has been just a consistency and discipline in the things that I need to do. I know what needs to happen. I understand how to do the things, but just sustaining those things over time has been the thing that kind of has been my hindrance. And so now really focusing on how do we continue to make those things more apparent, and become more consistent in them. And then the next thing about measuring, I think that kind of deters people, is you're faced with your truths. If you're actually documenting what you're eating, if you're actually documenting your workouts, if you're actually documenting the progress on your book, if you're actually documenting and measuring the progress on your business, it's a reality check every day of how much work you actually got done, how much business that you actually claimed, or this and that. And a lot of people would rather have the feeling of, hey, I know, I know I'm doing something, but I may not be doing it as effective, but I don't know that because I'm not really tracking it. I think it kind of goes back to some of the commentary in the previous chapter, where they was talking about progress over motion. I think sometimes people get confused making motion in terms of making progress. You always want to make progress and not just making movement. The next thing in this chapter that I think that really stuck out to me was, the concept, the mantra of don't break the chain, at least not twice. And I think this is another thing that really sticks, holds me up. And another thing that I kind of struggle with is just in the context of, I have a streak of working out, but then if I don't work out one day, it kind of just spirals into feeling like I messed up, or, hey, what's the point of even trying? Because, I wasn't able to stick with it because I missed one day, and I think the biggest thing is you just got to kind of get up and dust your shoulder off and keep going, and get back to it, and try to convince yourself that, hey, I'm not going to miss twice in a row. Like, now granted, you might miss twice in a week, you might miss twice in a month's time, but as long as you commit, again, here's your identifying trigger. Commit to not missing the habit or the thing that you're trying to do 2 times in a row. If your objective is to eat healthier, okay, you eat one bad meal, just don't eat 2 bad meals in a row. The win is to get back on track. And I think the win really, it comes into when you have those bad moments, or when you have those moments where you fail, that you are determined to get back on track, because I think those are the moments that create the habits more than when things are going good. The next and final thing that I'll kind of touch on with this chapter, and I think something that I'm taking advantage of personally, is just the accountability partner. Finding somebody that cares about you, cares about your trajectory, and then have similar goals and similar mindset and similar situations to hold you accountable. Just personally speaking, a good friend of mine, family friend, almost like family, is my accountability partner when it comes to working out. So I think I mentioned this in the live before. I got a whiteboard in my office. In the corner of that whiteboard is dedicated to, the weigh-in. We kind of update. We told ourselves that we'll update that board weekly. I'm watching my weight daily. I'm not sure what frequency he's watching his weight, but at least I know the frequency in which the board should be updated. And then we text each other in terms of the working out and kind of keeping each other motivated to do the right things as it pertains to our diet. And so I think an accountability partner is huge, not only in the context of working out, but if you want to write a book, get the business started, get your website up. Anything that you want to do, reading more, like there's different layers. And this book club, right, is an accountability metric for myself and others to try to get to increase our reading. I think everybody I've talked to that's a part of our community, they haven't, they've barely read one book last year. This year, I'm confident that the majority of them have gotten at least their first book done for the year. And so, just having that sense of accountability in this context that I'm speaking, it's like a soft contract that you have between yourself and the people around you. This chapter, talks about a habit contract, almost in the same context that I'm talking about it. And it also takes it even further to have a literal contract with signatures, to kind of really reinforce the severity and the seriousness of what you're trying to get accomplished or what you're trying to get across. And so that's kind of the fourth law in a nutshell of making it satisfying. I think that if you really, if anything, you take on for me, the two bigger elements of the tracking component, because I think it when you track something and measure it, you get that being satisfied by completing the goal or getting closer to completing the goal. And then the next thing is that accountability partner. If you can find somebody to help hold yourself accountable, I think that'll be phenomenal, and they'll bode well towards the objectives and the things that you're trying to get done. And so, man, I am excited to have had you guys with us during this period in time, which we're going over this book. Like I said, this is going to be our last Monday covering Atomic Habits. And then the following Monday, we're going to transition into UOU by Dr. Eric Thomas. TPE Book Club family in the private Facebook group, we're going to go over advanced tactics in our last in our private group. We'll schedule that in our group. If you want to be a part of that community, simply comment "I want in." Do not forget to tune in to our daily dose that we put out Monday through Friday at 4:30 live on Facebook and on YouTube and Twitch. Also, just subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're definitely growing, and we're putting out our long form show there, the TPE, on every other Saturday, at least Saturday or Friday. That show rolls out. And I'm just excited for the journey. And I'm excited for those of you who have been following me on that journey. Again, all your comments, your shares, your likes is highly appreciated, greatly appreciated. And until next time, TPE Book Fam, peace.